What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dreams and Things podcast. My name is Gus, and with us here is Natalia. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about, first off, let me introduce you to the podcast. So, the Dreams and Things podcast is my way of getting to know people on a deeper level, to understand them, what motivates them, and what they dream of, what they want to accomplish in life. So, I thought, what better to start with Natalia, because me and her have been pretty close lately, and she has been telling me some of her stories and what she's been doing with her life and what she wants to do. And I think it's a really good story for you to hear. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and point my attention to her and ask her some questions. So, today, this isn't our first try at this, by the way. So, we had a little bit of a mix up on my part. So, please forgive me if this sounds a little like we're repeating ourselves. But yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so
Just general speaking,
okay.
like
Like where I
who
grew up
you
and
are.
stuff?
Huh?
Like where I grew up?
No, just
Okay.
like
Okay,
like
so like what I want to do.
yeah,
Okay.
like yeah.
Okay. So, hello everybody. I'm Natalia. So basically what my dream and little thing
is
is
sorry.
is I want to open up my own shoe company,
Mm-hmm.
but with a twist. So it's geared towards women, and every shoe that I come up with will be inspiration from a person that I've met in my life or that I've encountered. And like for instance, say I know Gus isn't a girl, but Gus, like I had a shoe for Gus, and then underneath would be a description of the story that resonated with me that led to the inspiration. Um, and yeah, so basically, I know we all kind of heard of the shoe company Toms, like how they
Mm-hmm.
give like buy one, you donate one to a kid in another country. So it's kind of like that in a sense, but I want to sponsor girls to go to school, but here
Yeah.
in the U.S. because I mean I went to school here, and I think it's really important for girls to get a really good education.
Yeah. And so, with that being her long term goal and what she wants to accomplish with her career, what are some of the things that you're working on now that you are using to motivate you and also help build onto that?
So I'm starting a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is going to be me um, interviewing people who I come across with who I think their stories are really inspirational. And my little thing that I kind of live by is like walk a mile in everybody's shoes because everybody has a story. So I would be following them like a day in their life. Like if they're going to work, I'm going to follow them around work, kind of like take myself, but also the viewers who are watching around. And then I'm also starting a podcast with two of my other friends. Um, it's not necessarily towards my
Yeah,
company,
no, it
but
doesn't have to be
it's a thing that I really
something you're
want to do.
passionate about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not saying, just by the way, for you guys, like, we're not just talking about things that work, okay, long term. Like, anything that you are aspiring to do, anything that you're enjoying right now, anything that, like, makes you happy, makes you feel proud of what you are as a person. So, yeah, so this podcast that she's going to be working on with your friends, what are you going to be talking about?
A whole bunch of different topics.
Yeah.
Kind of basically what we're gearing towards is bringing up conversations we wished we had talked about when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
We, me and my friends, we come from Hispanic backgrounds, so there was a lot of things that you just didn't really talk about. If
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
bring it up to your parents, it was really shrugged off. And
Mm-hmm.
then I remember going on YouTube or going to my other friends who had like more experience, and then asking them for advice or like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going through this. Are you going through it? Because I'm going through it.
Yeah.
And then just learning from there. So kind of to bring awareness to just things that go kind of like untalked about.
Yeah. Yeah, and so as far as like that stuff goes, like what okay, you're going to be talking about it, but you were also telling me today like actually that there are some other things that you want to accomplish with it, right? So if you want to like go ahead and talk a little bit about that. I don't want to
Yeah.
speak for
No,
you.
you're fine. So basically with the podcast, we want to start off with the podcast, but we want to do a lot more events within the community.
Yeah.
To bring girls and also I guess like guys as well, because I think we all have something to gain from the
Mhm.
other gender. Um, just more like, for example, like we want to do like I know a lot of people do like school supplies drives where they
Mhm.
could give like kids school supplies, but we want to do more than that. We want to actually take these kids and let them know like you don't have to just grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer to be
Yeah.
successful, you know? Like there's so many creative things and artistic things that you could do, especially at a young age. Cause I mean, I remember my imagination when I was like
Yeah.
7, like
Yeah.
off the chain. But so we want to take kids and like adopt them and like take them to not just give them school supplies. Like yes, that's great, but we want to do more than that. We want to take them to certain events that they could see people who are photographers, who are videographers, you know,
Mhm.
or dancers, anything that they like, just to open up their minds a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really inspiring, and I think it's actually a really good thing because um
Thank you.
like I know for her me example, I didn't really think that that was something that I should pursue either. I thought
Mhm.
it, like, not that my parents dissuaded me from not like doing that, but you hear all this noise surrounding um from like your teachers or your peers or something like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, you can't do that because what are you going to get for money out of
Yeah.
it? And sometimes, yeah, obviously money, it makes the world go around. You need
Yeah.
it to survive in this
Mhm.
world. There's no getting around that. But I think it's also important that you find your passion in life, because if you're not doing your passion, you're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
So with that being said, so we know that your shoe company is one of your passions, but
Mhm.
are there any other passions in your life that you feel like you haven't really been following, maybe want to do a little bit more of, even
Yeah.
something small?
Yeah. For me, growing up, junior high and high school, I danced a lot. Once I left for college, that changed. I just stayed away from it. I got more involved with my school.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like I started working, so that was just like mainly like school and work, you
Yeah.
know. So that was dancing was for me was kind of like a therapy. Like
Yeah.
when I was just really stressed out, like dance was always there,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I just put it in the back burner. So it kind of leads to like um me dealing with stress, not really being dealing with it in a healthy way, I
Yeah.
guess, or a productive way.
Yeah. And that's really good because, like I said before, like if you don't do things that you care about, it makes life so much less enjoyable.
Mhm.
And there's so much stress already in the world to not be doing something that you enjoy because it's not seen as something that's
Yeah.
productive on a monetary scale, or as something that's productive for society or whatever. It's
Yeah.
important to take care of yourself too, and to take care of your mind,
Mhm.
which is something that we were also talking about
Mhm.
earlier. So as far as I know, we all have our struggles in life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you do to start helping you with your struggles? Because I know like
Mhm.
you've been going through some stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for me, the what helps me is definitely writing. I think I have a journal for everything in the book. But journaling, also I just got into meditation, like guided
Yeah,
meditation.
yeah.
So that helps me. Like I just do it for 15 minutes.
Mm.
Um, but I just feel so light afterwards. Um, and I would say like dancing too. Like I try to take a class whenever I can. Or even just going outside for a walk.
Yeah.
Cause I'm the type of person I don't really like to be indoors all day.
Mm-hmm.
So just going outside, getting that fresh air, like that helps me. And just
Yeah.
being around also like people who are really um I guess like down for me, you know, like
Yeah.
if they see me like down, they're gonna tell me like not snap out of it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And going off of that, I think it's important, obviously, to take care of your mental health, because a lot of
Mhm.
people, this is one of the things that in Hispanic households, especially, I think, isn't okay to be. Like, you're not allowed to be
Yeah,
depressed. Like,
it's like
it's
it's not
something,
a thing. It's like,
yeah.
oh, you're just feeling like this.
Yeah,
Go take a nap, you
you'll
know.
get over it type of
Yeah.
thing. And I think it's important to bring awareness to that,
Mhm.
because I mean, I know a lot of people that do, including myself, suffer from depression.
Mhm.
And I think it's something that it needs to be talked about on a larger scale.
Mhm.
And I think people don't realize how important it is to take care of yourself. So so journaling is one of those things that you've been doing
Yeah.
to help you with it. What would you like recommend for other people? I know like you were saying some of the things that help you, but
Mhm.
like what are some of the things that you also find that doesn't help you maybe, or maybe something that you would like to try that you've heard helps you or something like that?
Um so I can't really say what hasn't helped. Well, I mean, I guess for me, I've always been the type of person where I feel like I always have to be busy. Like I have to do
Yeah.
something. Like if I'm sitting down chilling, no, like that's
Mm.
wrong. So I think for me, putting too much on your plate, just realize like you could say no to things.
Yeah.
I'm a person that I like to help a lot of people. I'm always going the extra mile, but you got to realize like you got to take your time to do what's best for you. So if that means saying no to someone, that's okay.
Yeah.
Um like make sure you're putting yourself first, because then you're just going to give yourself to all these things and it's going to drive you insane.
Yeah.
Um what was the second question?
So something that you've been wanting to try maybe
Oh, okay.
that like you've heard
Um
helps other people and you've been wanting to implement in your life. If there's anything,
um
if you don't have anything, it's
I don't know.
fine.
I think it's called so I've been reading into more like have you heard of like the frequencies? Like if you listen to a certain frequency, like it raises
Oh,
your vibration.
yeah. Yeah, I don't
So,
remember what it's called, but
I
yeah.
think it's like a sound bath or something.
Okay.
So it's basically, I don't want to, I'm just describing it very vaguely. It's
Yeah.
probably not the proper terms, but
Mm.
it's like a bowl, and then they take something. To me, it reminds me of like, you know how we're making like guacamole on
Yeah,
the thing.
I
Yeah,
forgot what they're called, but
yeah, me
yeah,
too. But it's all
yeah.
right. And they just go like this, but like different frequencies help your vibration. So,
Mm.
and then like certain frequencies like bring down your vibration.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking of trying to do that. Also yoga, but I don't really know about yoga.
Yoga, I've actually done it before and I like it a lot. And I kind of
Yeah,
wish I could go back to it. I used to have
really.
a membership at LA Fitness and I used to do it. I remember
Oh,
one time I did it and I legit fell asleep like on the
see,
cool
that's
down.
me.
Yeah, but it was because I was so relaxed.
Oh,
Even though it
okay.
was like such a it's
Yeah,
actually like kind of a hard workout in a way because you're using your whole body
that's
weight to
true.
do
You gotta be
different
like really
stretches.
flexible, huh?
You don't have to be, but you build up to it.
Okay.
And then yeah, so it just kind of like you got to the point where you're so tired that you just like, oh fuck, pass out real
Just
quick.
knock out real quick.
But yeah, so let's see. One of the other things that we were talking about. So, going back to like some of your goals and
Mhm.
like what you want to accomplish. There's somewhat of a trend here. If you guys haven't noticed, like there's a little bit of woman empowerment type of thing going on for
Yeah.
her here. Um, which obviously she's a woman, and I think that's important for her to look out for her soul sisters or whatever you want to call it. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I want you to dive a little bit deeper into
Mhm.
why you think it's more important for you to like focus on that as opposed to like
Men.
not just men but like people as a whole.
Okay.
Like I know already the reason for this because we
Yeah.
talked about it, but I think it's important for her
Yeah.
to like explain why she gets to that point.
Okay, so the reason why I want to focus mainly on girls and women is because I remember growing up, you never really heard stories about women.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, he's a doctor and she's a nurse, or he's making a
Yeah.
million dollars and she's just, doing
The
whatever. Or
secretary or
she's or
something.
even that, like, it goes back to the Latino well, okay, so I'm Mexican Salvadorian.
Mm-hmm.
So we in like the Latino culture, Hispanic culture, you kind of always see like the man goes, works really hard,
Mm-hmm.
comes home, and the woman's supposed to have like the house clean,
Dinner prepared.
yeah, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Kind of just taking care of the house and the children.
Yeah.
I wasn't brought up like that. My dad was very he raised us to be independent. I have two younger sisters as well. And then I have two younger brothers. And for me, like I'm so grateful for that, because he always told us like your voice matters, your opinion matters, what
Mm-hmm.
you want to do matters, and no matter what you want to do, just it's fine. Just be the best,
Yeah.
or strive to be the best. And I think that's really important because growing up, like I would see my friends they weren't allowed to do certain things, like as applying for colleges. Like,
Yeah.
I went to school out in Miami, Florida, and some of my friends weren't allowed to even apply up in Northern California. Like, they
Yeah.
had like this area to maybe like San Diego, if that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important because growing up, I never had an example to look out for. Like,
Mm-hmm.
everything that I saw was from TV,
Yeah.
um, and maybe like a girl who was reporting the news.
Yeah.
But I never had that example. So I think it's really important to share these stories of women who are coming up in the world with their own businesses or whatever they're doing, whether she's becoming a doctor or she's becoming a lawyer or she's having her own shoe company. I think that's really important. So I want to have these little girls like who were like me growing up,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so can I do this?
Yeah.
Like, is it possible? Because a guy could do it, but what about a girl?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm striving more for women.
Yeah. And so building off of that, so let's go ahead and talk about your inspirations then.
Mhm.
So I know you were talking about this earlier. So
Mhm.
what are some of your inspirations? Like obviously you didn't have a lot like while you were younger,
Mhm.
as far as women in like the workplace or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. So yeah, go ahead and talk about that then.
So growing up, I guess I would just get my inspiration from, like, I would see like my grandma. My grandma was like such a
Mm-hmm.
hard worker. And um it wasn't until I went to college I joined a sorority. And I met such amazing women, like they're all amazing. But two people in particular, two of my sisters, one's actually my big, so her name's Maria. She got her degree in public relations
Mm-hmm.
and communications, I believe. But basically she works with people in the music industry, the Spanish music industry.
Yeah.
So she's worked red carpets, she's worked the Grammys, premios. She works for I think Univision, or yeah, Univision. I think she works for. She worked for CBS Radio, and I remember seeing her go from class to school, and she would still make time to come to events and even just hang out with me.
Yeah.
And she was just always doing something. And I know her her story is a beautiful story, and she took everything that she's been through. She took that and flipped it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. So when I would see her and like her worth ethic, it just motivated me to be like, okay, like she's doing it, I
Yeah.
could do it. Like there's no excuse.
Yeah.
And then I have another one of my other sisters, her name is Felicita, we call her Feli. She had a struggle upbringing, I guess you could say, as well.
Mm-hmm.
But she was always like telling me, like, you could do it. Even till this day, like I'm telling her like what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't wait, like you're gonna do it, blah blah. And she's just a ray of sunshine. Like you
Yeah.
meet her, she's so bubbly, but she's worked super hard. She speaks like 5 languages. She's the only CEO woman in her company, and she's traveling the world and just doing it. Like she's breaking boundaries. And those two, Maria and Feli, like they've inspired me so much. When I may not talk to them every single day, but they give
Yeah.
me advice, just not only like business wise, but also how to carry myself as a woman. Like be someone who, just how I look up to them, like somebody could look up to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And obviously shout out to them for
Yeah,
helping
shout out
build
to
her
you
as
guys.
the person that she is today. um yeah, so I guess with that being said, are there any other little things that you're working on? Obviously we know about the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you're working on that you're willing to share with people?
Yeah. So I don't really talk about it, but I've always kind of wanted to. There's two things. I want to write a book. Don't
Okay.
really know what about. Well, I guess like a motivational book. I
Yeah.
would want to do that, but I've always like I love novelas, so I want to write a novela. I really want to write a novela. Um, I would star in one, but I don't think I'm a really good actress, so it's all right. But I want to really write one, so that's like another thing, like just like a hobby. Like I think it's pretty fun
Yeah.
and cool.
Okay. All right. So I think that's a good stopping point for the most part. So
Alright.
before we get going, is there anything that you want to shout out one last time? Like something that you're working on, people can follow you on your
Oh yeah,
Instagram, social media, whatever it
yeah.
may be.
So basically, I have Instagram. You guys can follow me. It's underscore Natalia La Jefa. And then I'm starting a podcast with two of my other best friends. So that's gonna be Las Chicas del Barrio. I already kind of talked about
Yeah,
that. And I'm thinking, I'm so sorry, I keep nudging this thing.
it's fine.
I'm new to this, guys. I want to start a blog as well. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'll probably just put that link in my bio once it's
Mhm.
up. But yeah,
Yeah.
follow me. Follow back.
Yeah, so I think that's a good stopping point. So, like I said earlier, this podcast is just going to be me exploring other people's motivations, dreams, and what they want to accomplish in their lives. So, if you ever want to be a part of it, please feel free to let me know.
Hit him up.
I,
Hit him
yeah,
up.
I want it to be something that anybody can watch and then feel inspired to do something with their lives, even if it's something small in that day, and see what people are going through. Life isn't easy. You know, we need inspiration from each other. We need to bring each other
Mhm.
up. And I think this is a good way for us to be a part of each other's lives and to help each other get to our goals. So if you want to be a part of it, please let me know. Hit me up on social media, phone, whatever. Doesn't matter
Slide
what
in the
you look
DMs.
like. Yeah. Matter what you look like, how old you are, or anything like that. Even if you're little cousin or something wants to be a part of it and has something important that they
Oh
want to
yeah.
share, I think it's
Mhm.
important to empower those people to do what they want to do. So yeah, please feel free to hit me up. Um, yeah, but until next time, I love you guys. Take care. Peace.
Bye.